Hey guys, this is Joseph over at Brandex Reviews. I just want to talk very quickly about the new TV series Agent Carter, which aired last night, the 6th of January 2015. Now, if you don't know what it is, basically the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that is the films that tie in with Avengers Assemble. Doesn't include the X-Men, doesn't include Spider-Man, it's Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Incredible Hulk, and also Ant-Man, and Guardians of the Galaxy. All those films, I'm assuming you're going to know what they are. This TV series is set in continuity with that. It is basically a sister series to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is another TV series spin-off from those films. This series, obviously, as the title suggests, is about Agent Carter. Who knew? She was in the first Captain America film, that is the Captain America the First Avenger, released in 2011. She was a female agent, one of the main characters of the film, kind of a love interest for Steve Rogers, that would be Captain America. And the premise of this TV series is that it follows on after the events of Captain America the First Avenger. So after Steve Rogers has essentially gone missing, presumed dead, after World War II, this is when the series picks up. Now, there was what is called a Marvel one-shot, which is basically an extra that comes with the Blu-rays of the Marvel films. They haven't done it with all of them, but they've done it with a few of them. And they did one called, again, Agent Carter, and it was a sort of 10-ish minute video. Just kind of followed what she did working for the American Secret Service, basically. And that was kind of... I guess it was kind of like a pilot episode for the series, just to see kind of how it worked, her on her own. And I guess it was well liked because they have turned it into a TV series, obviously, at this stage. Now, the TV series does seem to follow on after that. Now, you don't need to have seen that Marvel one-shot, but I would probably recommend it. So you get that with Iron Man 3 on Blu-ray. I don't know if it comes with the DVD, but it's with the Blu-ray. So that aside, anyway, the TV series follows on after that. It's pretty much straight after that. And it does have Howard Stark in it, which is no secret because there's been clips with him in on YouTube and so on. He's not in it majorly. He's only got basically a scene in it. A lot of what he's done, the weapons that he's created that have kind of got out there, that's a major story basically in this, that kind of retrieving those weapons from the wrong hands. And there's some kind of funny bits in it as well. There's a bit where he's at some kind of government Senate hearing and he's being questioned, did you or did you not sell weapons to enemies of the United States? And he basically says no. And then they ask him, did you unknowingly sell weapons to enemies of the United States? And he just kind of sarcastically jokes and says, well, really, that's kind of a dumb question because I can't answer that because unknowingly I don't know. So, and then he kind of does it in a joking way, and there's kind of people behind him laugh. I was watching this with my co-reviewer, and he made a good point that is very similar to what Tony Stark did in Iron Man 2 when he was at that government hearing, and it was on the news and stuff, and kind of making people laugh. So, yeah, that was a really good highlight of the episode. But unfortunately, Howard Stark, played by Dominic Cooper, as also seen in Captain America, the First Avenger. He isn't in it for very long, but the scenes that he does have are great. And he was also in that Marvel one-shot as well, very briefly, that was on the Iron Man 3 Blu-ray. So that's pretty much the general where it picks up. Agent Carter trying to retrieve these weapons that have got into the wrong hands that were created by Howard Stark. And he's kind of asked, why did you create these if they're so dangerous? And he kind of comes back with something like, well, I can't control what I think about and that. So very similar to Iron Man, Tony Stark, anyway. But that's separate anyway. Now the aired was basically 2 episodes back to back, so it was kind of like a double length feature. Now, to put this into context, this TV series bridges the 3-month gap that's currently taking place with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Series 2 in America, because Series 2 started in September and it ended the first half of that series last month in December, and it's not coming back on until March, which really sucks because I'll have forgotten what was going on by then, so I'll have to rewatch them all, I guess. But within that gap, the S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter series, it will bridge that. Not in obviously the timeline, because the series is set in the 1940s, is Agent Carter, but what I mean is it will bridge those months where you've got nothing to watch in terms of this Marvel TV franchise. So it's nice that they've done that. It's like I say, it's just kind of rubbish that they finish a series for 3 months. I mean, a series should be like a continual thing until it ends. I mean, if they want to be off the air during the summer between seasons, fine. But anyway, I'm kind of moaning about that. But other than that, I don't really want to give any major spoilers away. There's a couple of nice moments. I think it was the second episode. There was a bit where it's got a character called Vanko. He's like a Russian guy, and clearly supposed to be the character that you see in Iron Man 2. That was the one that was released in 2010. Because if you remember the Mickey Rourke character who had the arc technology, those kind of whiplash weapons, that was his dad. His dad was the character in this episode, and so you obviously got to see him when he was younger, and he was working for Stark Industries, or whatever it was back in the Second World War, post-Second World War era. I think it was still called Stark Industries anyway. So that was, again, a nice little nod to the films, which is what was great about this, because it felt like in the first episode, or the first 2 episodes that they've aired last night, it felt like there were more connections to the film franchise than the entire first half of Series 1, where it was basically its own thing, was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, definitely positive from me anyway, and I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the series now. I don't know how many episodes really there's going to be. I think there's only going to be about 10 episodes, give or take, because, as I say, it's just there to bridge that gap from from January to March. If it's going to go any longer, I don't think it is. That's not what I've heard anyway. Now, obviously, I'm in the UK. I don't know exactly which site it's on, and I don't want to encourage downloading stuff illegally. But it was a friend of mine that brought this round. I don't know which site he got it off, but obviously he got it. Let's just put it that way. He downloaded it. So I can't point you in the right direction, but if you're into that kind of thing, go nuts. So the reason we had to do that as well, the reason my mate had to kind of get this, is because you could say, well, why didn't you just wait until it's on British TV? I don't think there's any plans to show this series on British TV, unfortunately. In the UK, Channel 4 shows Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but from what I've read, and this is up to the last couple of days, nobody has picked up Agent Carter. In fact, I'll read this news article it's the Exeter Express and Echo. And it basically says, I think it was dated 2 days ago, Agent Carter is hit to set US screens on January 6th, but it would appear that UK viewers will have to wait before they can watch the Marvel spin-off TV show. In the series, Hayley Atwell reprises her role, blah, 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 blah. The show doesn't currently have a UK broadcaster, despite Channel 4 airing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The station told Den of Geek, "We don't have any current plans for Agent Carter. It is rumoured Netflix could pick up the show for UK audiences, but this has not yet been confirmed." And that's the article. So yeah, that's really kind of rubbish, is that? Because from what I understand, Agent Carter is actually going to be in the next... I don't know if it's the Avengers film. I think it's Ant-Man that she's going to be in. Maybe in flashbacks or as an older woman. Because you saw her as an older woman in Captain America the Winter Soldier last year. And she's kind of... she's old. She's like in the late 90s at that point. And suffering from Alzheimer's or whatever. So it ties in with us, because it would be nice for like UK fans to legitimately see this series before those films come out, because it's going to tie in. So I really don't know what they're going to do. It does say in this article UK fans are going to have to wait. It doesn't say till when. I mean, I would assume that they're going to release this series on Blu-ray and DVD. I mean, I would bet serious money on it that they will, because that's what they do. And they've recently released the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1 on Blu-ray a couple of months ago. In fact, I did a review of that at Brandex Reviews if you want to watch that. If you want to suffer watching more of my reviews. But yeah, that's basically the status of seeing the series legitimately in the UK. So I don't know, but as I say, there's ways around these things. This is the day of the internet, and I don't want to encourage any kind of illegal downloads, but torrents. Sorry, just clearing my throat there. Anyway, I will leave it there because I've kind of rambled a bit now. But that's basically what I think of the series, and only 2 episodes in. It's kind of a double episode. I will also add that last night during the Agent Carter premiere, they also showed in America the Ant-Man teaser trailer, that first trailer. I wasn't planning on doing a review of that, so I'll just kind of briefly talk about it here. It looks quite good. I can see what they did. They wanted to kind of boost interest in the show from the beginning of Agent Carter, so they announced a few days ago that teaser trailer was going to air on TV first. You were going to get to see it first during Agent Carter, and that does seem to have gone through successfully, because a few months ago, I think it was back in late October, the plan for releasing the first Avengers Age of Ultron trailer was kind of announced that they were going to first show that during an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because the series was losing viewers week by week. It was really going downhill in terms of viewership. It's kind of weird because it was actually getting better, in my opinion, was that TV show. But that was the way it was. And unfortunately, the teaser trailer, we're hoping that showing the trailer during the series Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at that stage would boost more interest, get people to kind of watch it to see this trailer and then maybe watch the show. But unfortunately, the teaser trailer leaked online, and it was pretty good because Marvel kind of took ownership of it and said, right, it was leaked early, bollocks, we're not going to try and delete it. We will just we'll take ownership of it and we'll just release online like a decent quality version. So hats off to Marvel for doing that. It was just a shame that they couldn't go as planned and show it during Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But as far as I know, viewership has actually started to increase again. So for that, well, it did anyway while it was still on. Now, it did go to plan last night during the Agent Carter thing. I don't believe it leaked online early. I certainly didn't see it anywhere online until it had aired. So this morning I woke up in the UK and the Ant-Man trailer was on YouTube because during the night it had aired on TV as planned. So the trailer for that looks pretty good. It doesn't look quite as spectacular as the other films, but I don't think anyone expects it to be. As far as I know, Ant-Man is a caper film more than an action adventure. It's going to have those elements in it, but I think it's going to be more like not quite the Thomas Crown Affair, but just more kind of like, I don't know if you've seen an old film called Memoirs of an Invisible Man, the John Carpenter film from, I think it was 92, starring Chevy Chase. It kind of reminds me of that. Now that did have action and kind of stuff in it, but it wasn't like Iron Man with like big explosions and all that kind of stuff, rock and roll. It was kind of a quieter film with lots of dialogue and lots of like funny bits and lots of characters. I mean, Iron Man's all that as well, don't get me wrong. But that's what this looks like to me. It looks like a kind of a quieter Marvel film. But I could be wrong. And the fact that they're not doing a sequel, or they've not really announced a sequel anytime in the next 5 or 6 years, 5 years, as yet anyway, it kind of... I'm not saying that they don't have confidence in it. I just think that with this character, presumably they just don't have all that room for places to go with it. Kind of like Incredible Hulk, basically. It was a good film, but just leave it at one because, you know, if you push it out and try to do too many, it might kind of just flood it and people might just get sick of it sooner than they did with other characters. Because I think Incredible Hulk is well liked in the Avengers, but I think if he had his own film, unless it was really good and they did something like World War Hulk or something, it probably wouldn't be very good or be very well received anyway. So I think that's the same with Ant-Man. So again, like I say, they aired the Ant-Man trailer. It was successful last night. So that was another part of this whole thing. So seriously, I'm going to shut up now because I'm really getting off topic. So that's my review of the Agent Carter series. Have you seen it? Have you not seen it? Maybe leave some comments and let us know what you think. And there will be future reviews of Marvel films, TV series, trailers, all that kind of stuff as things come out. I sometimes do videos. I sometimes just post things on the website just in written format. So if you go to brandxreviews.com, there's plenty more to see up there, and there'll be plenty more to come in the future. So check back for that, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much for listening.